Sani mi bela ini mlo school lem. Amorai tosem all subject mi bela lanim lem. But mi ka mau chet na mi lu ngosem. All sani mi bela lanim mlo school le. Inu na bela helpi mi bela.
All come, all finish, all go finish in grade 10, we go grade 12, we come outside. No go work lol now. All come outside, all staff also, that's all you go steal, you go kind can pass and go drink, drug. This place, some of them bless a worry no go through display. And now almost all in ground, almost all walk, almost all cutting grass, almost all cutting the doy come tumbling, a brook him, a book him blouse, no god. Almost all walk garden.
Since 2 years, Mr. Bouchere, all subjects, some black yellow school, some necessary to us law, make use law, some useful to me at the place.
What piece of equipment is used to find the temperature of a substance?
Most students are unable to find paid work once they finish school today, as there are more school leavers than jobs.
This realization of a lot of kids will have to go back to the villages only came about in the last 10 years, I suppose, that a lot more kids are going back to the school and that the school curriculum earlier was focused on kids going on for a white-collar job in the towns. But as more and more parents and people in the community are becoming aware that a lot of the kids will not go on. They will fall back to the village. Now it is becoming relevant that the curriculum has to change so that more skills training, more adaptation to the villages is required in our school system now.
So communications in particular, mobile telephones. So that's at a very high level, but technology on a lower level.
Voluntary Service Overseas, VSO, an international development agency, is working with Simbu provincial government to strengthen relevant education in the province. VSO brings volunteers to some of the poorest countries in the world to fight poverty and disadvantage. VSO recruits volunteers from an increasingly wide range of countries through agencies in Canada, Kenya, the Netherlands, the Philippines, India and the UK. This international approach enriches our work. Volunteers live and work alongside local colleagues, sharing skills, creativity and learning to jointly bring about change. We work with partner organisations to bring together people from different cultures to create new solutions to problems. Our work is focused on achieving sustainable change by addressing both the underlying causes and the symptoms of development problems.
So, as Ebo Minkus
In
has
Papua
said,
New
the
Guinea,
best thing
our
about
education
education
strategy
is one day at a
aims to
time.
enhance relevant education for the bulk of school leavers who have no option but to return to their villages.
To be able to train people to go back to the land and not to expect and hope for to go on in the formal sector, but more an education with a skill to go back to the land.
In 1999, we had a program called Rural Technology and Enterprise in place here, where we had visited a VSO volunteer couple coming and then helping us to set up this Rural Technology and Enterprise Department, where we talked about giving a balance of practical curriculum as well as academic curriculum. Before the arrival of the VSO, we had that the curriculum was academic oriented, where the major emphasis was on the test oriented curriculum. But then after that, we analyzed the socioeconomic activities of the people in the villages, and then we see that there was a need for a curriculum change. So then we introduced that Rural Technology and Enterprise Department, where we emphasize a balance of practical as well as academic activities will have to take place in the formal curriculum, in a formal school setting.
Jane Madden is spending 2 years at Rosary Secondary School, Kondu, teaching home economics.
But we have actually now concentrating on trying to move them away from just being doctors and lawyers, which they all preferred, to actually giving them some skills that they could use in the village. So in the Rural Tech Department, we're trying really hard to give them an introduction to skills, but also how they can apply these skills. And I think that's the next surge of sort of input from us, that we need to show how to apply the skills that A, they already have, and B, extending those skills and teaching them new ones. It's the way in which we've done it, so that it gives them their self-esteem comes up and their confidence grows. And I think if you've got those two things, as well as teaching skills, there's a greater possibility of them actually doing the tasks when they do finish.
It will be useful to me if I leave the school. I will use it by producing my own products and sell them if I get married. It will help me from my living and from my other brothers and sisters and my parents.
We are quite successful because the main objective was to change the curriculum, and then at this time the curriculum is changing.
Primary schools are also being supported to implement a new subject, making a living.
Our area is basically mountainous, and we are not able to produce agriculture produce like coffee, what else? Cacao, things that the other provinces we know. We envy them, but we are not able to do the same here. Our area is mountainous and our terrain is, but we have our kids going back and they have to adapt themselves to the environment we live in, And mountainous though it is, people have to adapt themselves to it and making a living. And the MAL curriculum does talk about, being able to utilize what we have.
Making a living is a practical subject that incorporates all aspects of life, such as agriculture, basic technology and commerce. They've been all put together into this subject. The main aim of making a living is to teach students basic skills, knowledge, and attitudes, as well as values that will help them to live productive lives after school when they return to their communities. Most students would return to the communities after grade 8 because of certain problems like school fees, space in high schools. They may not have space there, so this is the only opportunity I see in their basic education where they can get the basic skills and knowledge that will enable them to live productive lives in their community. One of the biggest challenges that I see, one is adopting this new curriculum, which is more focused on teaching education that is relevant to the communities. And in the past, you have teachers, teaching straight from the books, and they could go page by page and get the program written and teach that lesson. With this new approach and in this new subject, we've given them a very broad outcome. And the biggest challenge is for them to translate those outcomes using the environment, understanding the local community, and developing a school program that will meet the needs of the students and the community. That's the biggest challenge that I see with the teachers.
Community workshops have been held to help schools base their work on local problems.
The community, including the teachers, worked out the problems in their areas, and one of the problems was low soil fertility, land degradation, and one thing I found that the community was not aware that this problem existed. The teachers, on the other hand, knew that it was something that was to be taught, and by the two groups coming together, they see that, oh well, we have to work together. Schools cannot do it on their own. They need the support of the community. So, it's been a very useful workshop, I think.
Schools are also being supported to develop linkages with local communities to help ensure local needs are being addressed. International volunteer Patrick Kyoko has been helping a women's group develop income-generating projects.
I think our group is about only 6 months, but from observing the members, they have been willingly coming to make projects for the group to raise funds, and they've been willing to save from their past books, buying their shares every month. And I find some little changes among them because some of them are illiterate. They don't know how to read and write. But from the trainings we have and the literacy classes we have, they are able to read, they are able to write, and they can read recipes to do the food processing we are doing. We encourage them to save little money, like 5 kina or 2 kina, until they come up to 10 kina, and then that's 1 share. So they know how to save now. Right now we are having just minor projects like cooking and selling, and we are sewing clothes, and we are doing food processing, and we preserve them and sell them. But we are thinking of extending our savings to loan. When we come to a stage where we can give out loans, then we will encourage women to look at bigger projects like looking after chicken or chicken poultry or piggery, or put up a little trade store where they can make money for their family.
Jane Madden has been working with a group of local women at Rosary Secondary School, Kondu.
So we started last term a set of what you can loosely call workshops, and it was how to preserve tomatoes and how to make jams and how to prepare foods differently. So not only were we teaching children in the school how to prepare foods, it was also the wider community. The first enterprise we're going to start off with is scone making, which is really very large bread rolls. And again, it has to be something they can do whilst they have the equipment, so they're going to make the bread and let it rise, and then they're cooking it in the drum oven because there's plenty of wood around, and so that therefore, you know, the fuel is not a problem either. And then sell it to order to various people. But one of the main things they want to do it for is because children at the elementary school, which is on the campus here, some of the very small children go to school without breakfast. And if we say to the mothers that if you pay so much per week, every morning when your child arrives in school, we will give them a roll, so that they've actually had some breakfast.
A new initiative, Simbu Youth Motivators, will help school leavers return to their villages to undertake local development projects.
Hopefully the program should act as a catalyst, act as a motivating factor to enhance other youths who are not ready and willing to accept new ideas and skills. They will see from this program those who are involved, and this will become as an example and a stepping stone for others to follow on, who are not educated but who can see practical things happening.
I've dealt with VSOs for the last 20 years, and initially my first involvement with VSO was providing teacher requirements in our schools. At that time we didn't have enough secondary schools, and VSO was helping out with shortfalls in teachers in the schools. But you know, I believe now the focus of VSO has changed to, in fact, what more can they help, you know, with divisions of education and other divisions in the government departments too, you know. And now with the MAL curriculum, the emphasis being placed on people going back into the villages after the formal schooling, you know, we would like VSO to be able to help in this area, you know, where we have specific needs in our communities or in schools where we want to impart skills training for people to go back to the village and where we do not have manpower.
I think we go back to school now. We got chance. We go back and we concentrate on all subject where meeting them helping Sinan blow me behind them. Kind of some agriculture, now business, practical skills, all this like about.
So English na disla, meeting emino help more too much. Agro casa side na help side lo mama papa lo long ground. Emi one big plus something lo life lo monkey.